All right, thank you for joining us for today's session. I'm going to drop into the chat where you'll be able to find the session recording later on today. Let's go ahead and crack on here on April the 3rd. Again, this is a session for a deep dive for Now Assist and Virtual Agent for Now Assist and Virtual Agent. Here's our safe harbor for notice for forward-looking statements. This is just a reminder that anything that we might talk about today that's not currently generally available represents a plan and not a promise, and no purchasing decision should be made on something that's not yet generally available. Today's session is a part of Live on ServiceNow, a curated event series designed to connect you with ServiceNow experts and peers that can help you to deploy your products and achieve value faster. We hope you'll join us again at another webinar or 360 Exchange event. You can see the schedule by scanning the QR code, or I think we're dropping the link in the chat, but if you want to see additional sessions, please check this or the email that was included in your invitation. Quick note around how to put AI to work faster with customer success and maximize the power of the AI platform for business transformation. This is a notification to leverage ServiceNow Impact, our training and certification courses, as well as expert services. We'll get these links into the chat and they'll be available in this deck after the session. Also, please go ahead and scan these QR codes to take advantage of these different offerings to drive your customer success. We're noting here again, Knowledge is coming up May 6th to 8th. If you haven't already registered, please go ahead and scan the code to register now. What happens in Vegas could transform your business. Please join us. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping here. We have saved time at the end of the session for Q&A, but there is a Q&A button within the Zoom app, so please go ahead and leverage that for any questions that you'd like to add in along the way. This presentation is going to be recorded and shared on Community at the link that has been provided already in the chat. And after the event, there will be, when you close the Zoom window, a survey will pop up. We'd really appreciate your feedback. Please let us know what you think about the presentation today, as well as anything else you'd like to hear about. So we appreciate your responses. Thanks so much. Okay, today we're in the middle of our welcome. We'll do some introductions as well. We're going to do an overview of Now Assist and Virtual Agent. We're going to dig into a lot of the latest content that's been released with our Yokohama release that came out last month. We'll see some demos of some AI agents, and we'll go through some new helpful assets and then take some time for questions and answers. And before we go any further, I think we're going to run our first poll question. Can we go ahead and get that going, please? Poll question number 1. We'd like to understand your purpose for joining today's session. Is it that you have not yet purchased the Now Assist or ITSM Pro Plus, but you want to learn more about it? Have you already purchased, but still looking to learn more? Are you looking to implement, looking to transition from the NLU-powered virtual agent to Now Assist and Virtual Agent? Are you implementing it now? Or are you already using it today and here to learn more about what's new and on the roadmap? And if there's anything else, please go ahead and enter it in the chat. And while that is running, please go ahead and continue to respond to it, and we'll do our introductions. I'll go ahead and speak first. I'm the guy on the right. My name is Jeff Fox. I'm a product manager here at ServiceNow. I've been with the organization for 3 years and been working directly on Now Assist for ITSM and Virtual Agent for the past year plus. Part of my role is to understand the new capabilities as they come out on a quarterly basis and to help enable customers, partners, and our internal teams on what those capabilities are. I really enjoy getting to work with customers and help drive adoption to get the most value out of our products. And in this case around Now Assist and Virtual Agent. So I'm real excited to be here today, and I'm excited to be able to share the stage with Nikki. Nikki, you want to introduce yourself and take over?
Yes, hey everyone. I know we have some global coverage here, so thank you to everyone all around the world for joining us today. So as Jeff mentioned, my name is Nikki Patel. I'm also on the ITSM product management team, and Jeff and I work very closely together on Now Assistant Virtual Agent. And so my roles and responsibilities are around, how do we take all the feedback that we gather from customers like you and incorporate it into our roadmap and ensure that the product that we're building is ensuring that it meets your customer needs. So I'm incredibly excited. We have such great attendance today. Please, as you're going through the session, think of this as a way to provide feedback. I mean, feedback is a gift. We want to ensure what we're building directionally is what's going to solve your company's challenges. So as we're going through this, if you think of ideas or you feel like, hey, current experience is lacking here, or we'd love to see this, please enter it into the chat, send a personal message. Any and all feedback is welcome. So really excited to be here today. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I think before we get into what everyone is here today, which is the demo, I'd like to spend some time just creating and publicizing and talking about, why we built Now Assistant Virtual Agent and what it's about. Because from the polls, I see that we have a mix of folks. We have folks, who are here to learn about it, have purchased it, want to learn more about it, and are looking to implement it. And it is the broad spectrum. So let's go ahead and get started. So after we spoke to a lot of customers, one of the most common themes that popped up is that organizations are like yours are pressed to provide both efficient and effective support while ensuring a seamless user experience to keep the employees as productive as possible. And almost all of them consider this their mission critical objective. Next slide. So most companies like yours face tons of macro challenges. And I think one of the most common blockers to these outcomes is an ever increasing number of incidents and requests, a shortage of IT talent due to budget constraints, and then the increasing demand for services due to digital transformation initiatives. Now, these challenges are further compounded by manual processes that block innovation, and for your employees, that manifests in poor experience, slow resolutions, and incomplete incident records. Also, just poor CSAT, right? They're just frustrated that they can't get their work done. And so we try to enable self-service sometimes, but employees often struggle to find answers themselves, and that leads to increased frustration and inefficiency. And to understand the impact of these challenges, let's go ahead and take a look at a typical workflow from the employee perspective. It starts with employees who are unable to find answers themselves, leading to ticket creation. Now, this process itself is time consuming and frustrating for the employees because they're trying to execute a task and they have to stop in the middle of the task to go and fill out a form or interact with the agent. So let's just say they call tech support and then they have to wait for the level 1 agent to sift through the past transcripts, troubleshoot with the employee to find the right answer, maybe ask some generic questions that the employee is already frustrated answering, like where's your location and what are you using? And so if the answers are not then found, the ticket is then, let's just say the L1 service desk agent can't resolve it, and the answers aren't found, the ticket is then escalated to level 2 agent, further delaying the resolution. And now the employee has to engage in more back and forth with another agent, which can take days, and based on the employee's and agent's availability. Now, if the issue is resolved, it may not be properly documented, leading to other employees to face the same redundant issue. And this tedious process highlights the need for a more efficient way to provide quick and accurate answers to employees. And this is just the life cycle of one incident. I know from folks on the call, I'd love to hear like if this is a challenge that you all are experiencing across your company. So as there's more frustration, as there's more tedious process, a lot of folks just abandon and don't engage with the self-serve or with the service desk. But that's where AI-powered solutions like Now Assist come into play. And that's what will help us streamline those workflows and improve that service quality. So for folks, learning about our Now Assist set of capabilities, that's what we call our generative AI set of capabilities. And so the goal of Now Assist is to transform that entire workflow from inquiry to resolution. And we've been investing in this over time and trying to pioneer ways to make sure we're enabling a seamless user experience while enabling employee productivity. Now, some of you may have heard or may not, but Our next frontier is how do we enable agentic AI at scale across your entire company? So this means how do our virtual agents, our facing virtual agents, and for agents or service desk agents themselves, how do we ensure that we're reactive, or how do we ensure we're not reactive but proactive, and provide even more personalized and efficient interactions? Now, agentic AI will allow our virtual agents to anticipate the needs and offer solutions so that we could get your employees as productive as possible and as fast as possible. And this ensures that we stay ahead in delivering exceptional service experiences while continuously enhancing both employee satisfaction and operational efficiency. And so Jeff will be showing us a demo later, on that later. But before we jump into that, I think for those who are wanting to get to know Now Assistant Virtual Agent, we'll go ahead and take a look at what it does today. So Now Assistant Virtual Agent is our LLM powered chatbot. So Now Assist, as I mentioned, is what we call our suite of generative AI capabilities, and we've embedded that into all of our ITSM core products. And Virtual Agent is what we call our chatbot. So the goal is to support employee productivity at the forefront. That is the North Star, is how do we enable employee productivity by increasing self-service with more contextually relevant answers, and enabling better experiences by making catalogs conversational or by creating LLM-powered topics. And the goal is to ensure that you get that fast time to value by ensuring you can deploy Now Assist in minutes with content in your instance to solve your unique use cases. So I know sometimes setup can be a challenge with ServiceNow, but with Now Assist, our one of our key goals was to ensure that we could implement it within 15 minutes. So we have a 15-minute implementation guide that we'll share later on in the presentation on how you get from start to finish with Now Assist. So let's go ahead and drill down into the key features within Now Assist for Virtual Agent. So in the March or last month, we had a new App Store release. And so I'm going to highlight some of our key innovations from the App Store release. So traditionally before March, we were using Now LLM to disambiguate, rewrite queries, understand intent. And so, you know, we understand that sometimes GPT-4o or GPT-4o is actually far better in reasoning than we are. And that's because the entire company focuses on just that. And so we've now partnered with OpenAI, and we've now integrated their reasoning engine, which is the GPT-4o reasoning engine, into our pipeline. And so this is a game changer for that conversational experience delivered in Now Assistant Virtual Agent. And a key benefit of this I mentioned was the disambiguation. And so what that means is, let's just say like an employee provides a very ambiguous, cryptic message. And sometimes, chatbots can be overeager to answer. Disambiguate means that we will follow up with more clarifying questions to ensure that we're getting them to the right response. In addition, let's just say the utterance is very abstract and cryptic. We will use GPT-4o to rewrite that query to get better, relevant, and grounded search results. So GPT-4o excels in understanding and clarifying those user intents, even when it's unclear, and then that means a smoother, more efficient Now Assistant Virtual Agent experience. Next slide. Yes. So the second great innovation was now you're able to interact with data sitting in third-party systems without ever having to log out and log into these systems using Now Assistant Virtual Agent. So using Now Assistant Virtual Agent, you could ask questions about maybe purchase orders in Coupa, or single sign-on management or resetting in Okta, or sales opportunities in Microsoft Entra, and more. And so in this example, an employee wants to reserve a parking spot at the office. And so she engages in a conversation with Now Assistant Virtual Agent. And let's just say that the parking management system is a third-party system. With the integration and in ensuring that the employee can conversationally interact with that data in the third-party system, she can take that action to reserve a parking spot without ever having to log into that system. And so this is our goal, to ensure that for any employee or for all employees, the very first place they go to get any task done or any action done is the Now Assistant Virtual Agent. So we have a list of integrations that we've shipped, or conversational spokes that we've shipped in November and then in March. I mentioned a few of them, but we have more than 20 that we have provided out of the box. All right, next. So Now Assist Guardian is our ability or our set of features or generative AI features that detects offensiveness and any type of you know, content that's not that you don't want available within your company. And so we've had some enhancements for Analysis Guardian. One of them being we've introduced a new multilingual small language model that can now detect offensiveness and prompt in multiple languages. And these languages include French, Canadian French, German, Japanese, Dutch, Spanish, Brazilian, Portuguese, Italian. And so this greatly expands our safety coverage for companies all across the world. And so the model has been fine-tuned using content moderation and security data sets, which are documented in a model card, which we will share later on. Now going on to knowledge graph. So when I talked about earlier today about, how we provide more personalized responses. So I mentioned, sometimes when an employee engages with a chatbot, the chatbot will sometimes ask, like, hey, what is your location? What is your asset? Who's your manager? Now with knowledge graph, we can provide and we can understand what are all the user attributes for that user and slot fill that information so that the VA doesn't have to ask those questions. So for example, if as an employee, I go to the chatbot and I say, hey, I want to upgrade my laptop, using Knowledge Graph will retrieve like, hey, when they say my laptop, they have a MacBook Pro 15. And when they want to upgrade, let's see where the user's location is. Oh, they're in the US. Let me look up the laptop upgrade policy in US and provide that contextually relevant answer. So in the back end, it's slot filling those answers so that when it does reply, it's not asking for questions it should already know. It will provide the most relevant answer for that logged in user. So Knowledge Graph allows that level of information where it'll understand attributes about the user and only provide contextually relevant information. Another example is like for someone, let's just say I myself, Nikki, I'm based in San Diego, and I go to the Now System virtual agent and I say, hey, what's my mat leave policy? It'll see that my name is Nikki. I'm logged in at San Diego, so I'm looking at the US mat leave policy, and then it'll provide answers around what my mat leave policy is. And so that streamlines that conversation and gets the employee to the answer they need without having to ask those really basic questions. Now I'll pause right here. Let's see if there's any questions that we want to answer. Employees are struggling with the whole employee service setup, resulting in increased cases raised via email and not via self-service. I would love to learn more about that. If I think Martin, if you want to come off mute and provide more context around that. Okay, we'll go ahead and skip over that one. Yes, customers can build their own conversational spokes. That is correct. So we provide the studio to build that, but we ship some out of the box as well. Let's see. In your example of the parking ticket, where is this response coming from third-party application to analysis directly? Yes, so it's not, so the response is being curated by ServiceNow, but ServiceNow is interacting with the data, understanding the data, rewriting it into result, or rewriting it into essentially a conversational result for the employee. So it's ServiceNow that's interacting with the data, ingesting the data, sending it to the LLM, and then providing a result to response to the employee. Let's see. When an LLM topic, we have static choice input node with allowed automatic slot filling. Is there a way to specify that for a certain user input, the slot should not be auto-filled? I will answer this once, because this is more implementation. I will answer this once we get through the features, because this is a more longer answer, and I'll share it live with the folks on the call. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on. So, we've talked about implementing all these features, but how do you track the ROI of these features? How do you ensure that the promise of Now Assist and the promise of these Gen AI features is showcasing the value it should return. And that's where analysis analytics dashboards comes in. So this is an out-of-the-box dashboards, which goal is to understand what is the usage and performance of any analysis capabilities. And then you could also create your own custom analytics. And this also was released or an enhancements to this was released in March. Next slide. So we'll drill into some of the key features that were released in the March release. So the first one is just more drill down into usage and adoption. So being able to see usage by departments, which actions are being used by each department, any feedback they provided, or error details. In addition, you could get searches or insights into searches for, what are the knowledge articles and the catalog items that are being retrieved as results? And what are the most common queries that your employees are entering that did or didn't yield results? And this is important because if you want to ensure that you have enough knowledge coverage, or you have the right catalog items, or if there's any gaps in the knowledge, this pinpoints those gaps so that you can create that content. Or you could use web crawler, which I'll talk about later in the presentation. The next one is estimated time saved. So sometimes it's hard to track, how much time savings analysis features is actually providing. And so this provides estimated writing time saved by using Now Assist for content creation. So this is anything where you use Now Assist, write with Now Assist to help you draft anything. And then the second is the estimated reading time saved by some of the summarization skills that we have across incident records, request records, and change records. All right. So let's see, we could also, there's enhancements to the Analysis Analytics dashboard where we embed Analysis Guardian Insights. So you could view detection for configured guardrails, such as offensiveness and prompt injection in a much more actionable way. You could also see key insights like percentage of interactions flagged or total occurrences, time series trends, and detection breakdowns across the different skills. So those are some of our key innovations from the March release. And now we get into just, what we have released to date, just for your education and awareness of what Now Assistant Virtual Agent provides. So for those folks who adopted Virtual Agent when we were using NLU, where you had to define every specific node in the topic tree, we now have LLM powered topics. So with this should be able, this helps you create topics in a more efficient manner because you could provide it instructions, and based on those instructions, it can provide and hydrate the topic with content. So this is a more efficient way to create topics for very specific deterministic or linear processes within your company where you need employees or agents to follow the correct sequence of steps. So I'll talk more about that later, because now that we have topics and AI agents, how do you use both and what's the best use cases for both? And I'll touch on that a bit later today. So a great way to design those topics is using VA Designer. So VA Designer allows you to build it in using natural language, and I talked about that earlier or just in the previous slide. So we've also refreshed the way that you could create VA topics into a more intuitive experience. In Q1, we also did some enhancements to out-of-the-box ITSM topics. So we optimized the checking IT ticket management status just to see, or just to ensure that employees get the information that they're looking for. And then also how you escalate and how do you escalate tickets that you may already have open. All right, so we also have synthesized responses. So what this means is, let's just say that let's just say that the responses and the replies or the results for the employee's utterance is found across 3 separate KBs, and it's like step 1, step 2, step 3 across the 3 KBs. We'll synthesize those results so that we could present it in a sequential manner. So you'll notice that in this example right here, the employee suggested, hey, laptop policy, very ambiguous. And so it basically provided examples from multiple KBs, and then it also presented an action. So from the KB, it pulled that, hey, your laptop can be replaced every 3 years. And from another KB, it checked like, this is the devices that you're available for. And then step number 3 is presenting a catalog item to show how to go ahead and replace an outdated one or check for an upgrade. The next is a conversational catalog request. So originally, if you wanted to order something from a service catalog, you have to go into the service catalog, look for it, order it. But now we've enabled this conversationally. So in the previous example and in this example, as employee, if I were to say, hey, I want a laptop, I can now engage with the catalog conversationally, which means I could order, manage, or order items from the service catalog without ever having to go to the service catalog. And so, some of your service catalogs may have scripts or things like that. And so we do have a catalog coverage dashboard to provide guidance on where you have coverage. So now let's just say that you want to know which of your service catalog items aren't covered conversationally. This dashboard provides that insight so that you can turn them into conversational and take the steps you need to. All right, so you can now also engage our virtual agent via our portal, or you can help meet your employees where they are in your collaboration apps. So now you can invoke our chatbot from MS Teams, Slack, WhatsApp, SMS, and more without compromising the quality and the delivery of your service. So this allows you to meet your employees where they are. So we have a dedicated console to help enable you set up VA, and this allows you to define, test, and activate your configurations. You could also create, I think this has been around, but just to rephrase, you could also have different virtual agents. So if you want one dedicated for, let's just say, your internal HR portal or your internal IT portal and one for employees, you can do that. And for each of those, you can select which skills or AI capabilities you want to leverage within Now Assistant Virtual Agent, which portals you want to show which VA in, and also change the branding and more. And so this is a quick and seamless setup that enables you to get that faster time to value with their VA. Now let's just say that your employee queries for something where there are no results or resources. If there are no resources for the query or the utterance submitted, you can now select a fallback option. So you could choose whether or not you want them to transfer to a live agent or reset the conversation or create an incident, ensuring that there are no dead ends to the employee experience. And if you're interested in what value Now Assistant Virtual Agent has provided to our customers, here it is. So on average, our customers have saved around $5.5 million and 21,000 employees hours annually. So 54% of their tickets have been deflected using our Gen AI set of capabilities. And these are just some of the initial markers that we tracked with our customers to ensure that the features that we're providing are adding value to their companies. So I'll go ahead and pause right here. Let's see, are all these features available for public sector as well? Most of them should be. We'll need to follow up and see which specific ones. The only thing I'm not sure about is the Now Assist Guardian, but we can follow up on that one. Let's see, I implemented Now Assist in my dev environment, but out of the box, the VA is unaware of users' assets. How do I enable this functionality? Yes, so the reason why is we released it in the March release in Knowledge Graph, and we don't enable it out of box. So if you want to use Knowledge Graph and you want it to start understanding user assets, locations, we'll send some more info. Product documentation is actually a good section. I think, Jeff, if you could link them to the Yokohama Knowledge Graph product doc site, that's a good place to start. Let's see. We'll also, I think we could provide some product docs around how to go ahead and make catalog items conversational. We have some product documentation around that as well. In addition, on how to create a custom Now skill in Virtual Agent, we could send product documentation on that as well. All right, so I'll answer the other two questions. async, and let's go ahead and start looking into the next set of features. So these are set of features that we're planning on a roadmap for Q2 and Q3. So we've heard this time and time again, and we're finally delivering it. And this is being able to engage Now Assistant Virtual Agent in a dynamic window experience. So as of right now, it's a small chat client anchored to the bottom right, but just based on the evolution of the current experience, it doesn't do, it's not well equipped to handle a lot of these complex queries. Now that we're engaging in conversational subflows where you may see a list of purchase orders or summarizations of purchase orders and things like that. And so coming in Q2, you'll be able to change and respond, you'll be able to change the size of the window. In addition, we'll now show proactive updates to any conversations, like let's just say you had a question about a ticket status. We also will show past chat histories, as well as, if you type in something in Genius in the search bar, and let's just say that you want to engage with the chatbot, it will now integrate that experience so that you don't have to go and start a new conversation with virtual agent. So really cool experience coming in Q2. So as I mentioned, the information sprawl is real for a lot of our companies, and there needs to be a way to accommodate it. All your data lives in all these separate tools. And so how do we ensure that when we're invoking those conversational subflows or employees are trying to engage with those third-party systems, we can ensure that they're getting to the right data. So we have out of the box flows, but in addition, a lot of our customers had mentioned that, hey, if I have generic inquiries about Microsoft Office or Slack, I don't want to have to create a knowledge article for that. I want to be able to retrieve that information from maybe the Microsoft Office product documentation site or the Slack product documentation website. And so using web search in Now Assist, you can either, so there's two options here. There's the web crawler where you can contain which websites you want to retrieve specific results from. Or if there's no results, then we will fall back into a web search so that you can provide a result to the employees' utterance. So for example, if there's no results within any of your knowledge base, we will then use the web search to retrieve those answers so that your employees always have an answer. But if you want to contain that, that's when web crawler comes in, and that's where you could specify what are the websites you want your employees to engage in if you don't want them to engage in a full web search. And then last but not least is AI agents for employees. So I'd mentioned, we have VA topics and now we have AI agents. How do I use both? What is the purpose of both? So we had VA topics only because we didn't have AI agents. And so traditionally, when we position VA topics is anytime you have a specific company specific or domain specific process, that then you want to create a VA topic. But now with AI agents, that purpose is going to change. So with AI agents, think of it as if you have a process within your company that doesn't have to follow a strict sequential order. It could go from 1 to 3 to 5 or 1 to 2 to 4. That is a great use case for an AI agent. In addition, if there's ambiguous inputs that you might get from your employees, that's a great use case for an AI agent. Now for VA topic, if you need the employee or the agent to follow the exact specific steps in the exact order, that's now the perfect use case for a VA topic. So I'll provide some examples. Like for example, for AI agents, the perfect use case for this now is, managing your ticket for employees. So as an employee, I might invoke or start a conversation with Now Assistant Virtual Agent, and I might be like, hey, what's the latest on my ticket? Now I could have an open incident, I could have an open request, and so I could have multiple things. So RVA in the future, this is one of the use cases that we'll be shipping in Q3 actually. We'll be like, hey, these are your open tickets. Which one are you referring to? And I might be like, hey, I can't log into Figma. That's the one I'm referring to. And from there, either I could say, hey, I want to, add a comment to the incident, or I might want to escalate it, or I might want to just cancel it. And so with that thought process, there might be multiple paths that you can take. And that's why that would be perfect for AI agent, because the AI agent will detect that intent and can do those undeterministic execute those undeterministic paths based on the intent and the utterance of the employee. Uh, so that's kind of think about that as a use case for AA agents. Also, we will be going into the next poll. I mean, sorry, not the next poll, but the demo that Jeff is now going to present or present in a little bit is actually going to showcase some of the AI agent use cases that you can operationalize starting with the March release. Though before we get there, we have a upcoming poll question, and I wanted to plant the seed now. Is, we are focused in Q3 in delivering employee-facing IT use cases using AI agents. So based on what I've mentioned and what Jeff will show, I will ask after the end of the demo, like other potential use cases you would like us to see to deliver AI agents for. And think of this as like really high frequency, maybe medium to high complexity use cases, things that don't need to follow a specific sequential set of steps. And those are great for use cases, AA agent use cases. All right, so before we do jump into the demo, we have our second poll question. So this is, if you are entitled to Now Assistant Virtual Agent, but are not yet using it, what are the challenges you are to adopting it? Is it because you have an existing capability that meets your needs and you don't need a chatbot? Is it that it's on the roadmap, or it's not on the roadmap, but you guys are waiting to put it on the roadmap? Is it the need to get help implemented and don't know how to get started? Is it competing priorities? Or it's on the roadmap and you're just waiting for it? Or if it's other, please enter it in the poll.
Okay. Thanks, Nikki. Wow, that was a mouthful.
Yes, it was.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and move us on to the next slide and start to work into the demo. So, Nikki, really appreciate you going through it. I think from a time check perspective, we've got about 20 minutes left. I'm going to take 10 to 15 minutes or so to go through a handful of demos with some of our custom built AI agents. And before I get into this one, so this one is on doing a customer lookup activity. And I just want to set the stage that these were custom AI agents that were built in the Yokohama release, and we're going to show them in Virtual Agent. So when it comes to doing this customer lookup, in this demo, we're going to show how an end user can go in and get customer information from a third-party system by using Virtual Agent. And the convenience of getting this information from ServiceNow is a real time saver and a better experience than, say, logging into another system, another CRM system. So the virtual agent is powered by AI agents, and what's cool and powerful about our AI agents is that they're able to take action without explicit instructions. So this demo is powered by an AI agent that leverages tools like integrations with third-party systems to retrieve account details. So let me go ahead and run this. All right, so here you can see on the right side in the VA window, we're looking up customer broader tech. And I think this one's going to run through pretty quickly. So by using tools like integrations, the AI agent's able to easily pull information from another system to show a few accounts that are going to match this user's query. So we're getting into this, we're discovering this customer lookup AI agent now. And for the March release, our engineers are dedicated to providing the right user experience and connecting the user's request to the right AI agent to ensure an optimal experience. So we'll be focusing on speed with a focus on getting sub 5-second results. Here, we're able to respond conversationally, and this agent is not, this agent just responds back with the broader tech AMS information. And we're going to ask another question about the ARR. So the AI agent is not scripted to understand that ARR is annual recurring revenue. It just intelligently picks up on what ARR is and surfaces the correct information for the end user. So other questions that the AI agent can answer around the account is around who's the primary contact. which is, I believe, coming up next. If I didn't pause it. Is it still going? There we go. Okay. And so the AI agent will not know how to perform this task on its own. Will know how to perform this task on its own and retrieve that right detail from the in system. And then now that we have the ARR and the customer contact, we're going a step beyond to ask the agent to draft an email for us. And this email is going to include some specific details that need to be included, like highlights of the March VA release and an ask to meet over lunch the next week. And here the AI agent interprets this request and drafts this email on the user's behalf, right? It's pretty cool. Using agentic reasoning along with tools like subflows and integrations, this demo shows how the AI agent can efficiently surface the right information that lives in an external system and address the employee's request. The AI agent understood that the tasks it needed to do, and it performed them autonomously without the need for hard-coded instructions. So let me move on to the next one. Sorry, bear with me. Moving on. Okay, so now we're gonna get into an expense report. And in this demo, we're going to show how an end user can get connected to their expense reports using Virtual Agent. This is convenient to be able for a user to get their expense report. It's a real time saver and a better experience than logging into a third-party system like Concur. Again, this system, Virtual Agents powered by AI agents. I'm going to go ahead and run this particular demo. And so it takes actions without having to have explicit instructions. This demo is powered by two different AI agents, one to get the expense reports and another, one AI agent to get the expense reports. It's using tools like validation and integrations into systems like Concur, which are built using Flow Designer. So using this integration to Concur, an AI agent was able to easily pull this employee's expense reports, which we'll see coming up here. All right, so we've got a handful of different expense reports. This is an area where the Now Assist self-service module that Nikki talked about earlier would probably be useful, right? We've got a lot of content that's coming through. Doesn't look the best in Virtual Agent today, but this is where we're at today with the bullets. So we've got multiple different expense reports. We're going to ask some additional questions of the agent around how much did we expense for meals specifically. Again, this isn't scripted. The AI agent doesn't knows that breakfast, lunch, and dinner are different types of meals, and so it's going to intelligently group together all the meals and provide this total. There's additional examples that we're going to use to show AI agent reasoning abilities, like this question around unsettled expense reports. In here we can see the amount of unsettled expense reports that haven't been paid yet, and then we can also ask about February expenses, and the LLM will connect the dots and provide the accurate response. And I believe that's it for this one. So again, a custom powered AI agent where we're able to address issues that users may be used to need to go to a third-party system to get answers for. Sorry, bear with me. Okay. This one's around a distribution list. So in this flow, we're going to show how end users can perform actions on a distribution list using Virtual Agent. So we're logged in to in this one as a manager, Maria. And what's powerful here is that she's able to take action without explicit, just the AI agent is able to take action without explicit instructions. So this demo includes one AI agent around this distribution list. It has tools like search and subflows, and these tools help fetch the user's direct report information, members of the DL, as well as adding members to a distribution list. So let's kick this one off. Oh, there we go. All right, so here we're asking to, Maria's asking to add a list of her direct reports to the sales DL. So the AI agent's going through and determining what it needs to actually do, and it's pulling together, it's going to activate this distribution list AI agent. It's first going to find this list of distribution lists to validate exactly which one she wants to update. And here, I think we're going to indicate it's the first distribution list. The first one. Okay, so this is, there were, a handful that were found matching sales, so we validated the correct one. The AI agent didn't need rigid instructions to know the steps to take. It was able to do this automatically and reason through the request. So now it's coming back and it's finding out who Maria's direct reports are, and then again, which ones are already on the distribution list. And finally, the delta, the direct reports that are not on the DL, and it's asking if they want to add them to the distribution list. And just like that, with the yes, the AI agent's going to add people that are not already in there into the distribution list. So here, using agentic reasoning and tools like subflows and search, this demo flow showed how AI agents can significantly reduce a manual effort to managing a distribution list and performing a complex task. Again, the AI agent here took action autonomously without prompting from the user and saved a bunch of time for the employee, this manager, and provided a great experience. Okay, cool. One more, and this is, I think, a really IT specific use case around provisioning a virtual machine. So this may be something a little bit closer to home for those of us in ITSM. So in this demo, we're going to show how an end user, say an engineer, can request a new virtual machine to be provisioned using the virtual agent. And the convenience of provisioning this VM is a real time saver for them, and it provides a better experience than having to go log into a third-party system like Azure. So let's have this one run. All right, so first this requester asked to manage his virtual machines. And we're going to use tools like this integration with Azure, and the agent's going to be able to surface the user's existing virtual machines, which includes the VM asset number, which we'll see here in a moment. All right, so we see that there are two VMs that are already listed, and they're both tied to this project called Demo Agents. Next, we're going to ask a more complicated question around provisioning a new virtual machine. What's happening here is that the AI agent is interpreting the request and using its reasoning capabilities to autonomously execute this task. The AI agent understands that the user wants to provision a new VM, and it utilizes a tool to perform that task. The agent asks for inputs here, like the project name and operating system, and with those provided, the AI agent uses them to provision the new VM in the target system. In this case, it would be Azure. All right, and so we've seen that this new VM has been successfully provisioned. Pretty cool. We have other use cases that show off AI agent reasoning capabilities, like this ask to, there we go. We're now going to ask to terminate the machines that belong to the project demo agents. Okay, so the first VM has been terminated. In this case, we had two that met this demo agent project criteria. So the AI agent is doing the work now of terminating each of these in turn independently, saving a ton of time for the employee. At the end, the AI agent can also help. We're going to ask for a list of all the VMs. All right. right, so there's one more question just to sort of go through and validate that the terminated VMs are not on the list and that we still have the one active VM is what we're expecting. Great. And so here we've seen the AI agent respond conversationally to manage this employee's VMs. Again, using agentic reasoning with tools like these subflows and integrations, the demo showed that the agent can officially interact and execute based on this employee's intent. And I think we've got a little conversational bit here, where it comes back and says, thanks for using Now Assist. So great experience there. Again, these were a handful of custom AI-powered AI agents, and that concludes the demo. So I'm going to move on to our final couple of poll questions. So can we run this last poll question, please?
Yeah, give me one sec. Let's see.
And let me see if there's any other questions that have come up through the demos. All right, thank you. If you guys would, please take a moment to review this poll question and provide your responses.
And I do want to mention question number 3. So for question number 3, if you have any use cases, employee-facing use cases based on what I had mentioned and what Jeff presented, please to provide those. So this will directly impact our roadmap for what we release in Q3 and Q4 and moving forward.
That's right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, I see a couple of questions here. I see one really lengthy one that I don't think we can probably get into in the 5 minutes we have left. We got a little bit more content. Nikki, are there any of these questions you want to go through and address?
Yeah, so let's see, the long one, I will respond. I think we had another question about bringing your own LLM. So short answer, yes, you could bring your own LLM and you can configure it. Let's see. And then the first question about my dev environment out of the box, VA is unaware of the user's assets. We'll share the knowledge graph product documentation. So knowledge graph will enable VA to understand the user's assets if they were to provide an utterance that uses around the user's assets. Do we have any documentation on configuring virtual agent with Concur? So we have the integration hub spoke that's available today. The conversational spoke is on the roadmap. So being able to engage with Concur conversationally, like, hey, show me my outstanding expenses, is on the roadmap. But this is an out-of-the-box conversational flow with Concur. Now, if you want to create your own, you could do that today, doing your own. Let's see. Is there a published roadmap? No, we don't publish it only because it's very subject to change. I think these are the types of sessions where we'll talk about it. But if there's any specific things you're interested in knowing about, or if you have any feedback about the roadmap, please let us know. Also, you can work with your account executive and solution consultant if you want to get a one-on-one roadmap session and work through with them. There's also, we have an out-of-the-box integration hub integration with Ariba, but a conversational subflow out of the box that's on the roadmap as well. Let's see. What is the recommended channel for incidents created from VA? Anna, would you mind coming off of mute and maybe sharing more information about that question? Is it like around best practice, or is it for a company, what's the best way to engage with VA for an employee?
All right, Anna, you can come off mute if you wish.
Or send something in the chat. Either way, completely fine.
Mm. Not hearing anything. And it looks like you're off mute, but we're not hearing you.
Oh, audience does not have off the mute functionality. Thank you. Thank you, Andre. Let's see. Can we change that?
I took her off mute. I mean, I allowed her to speak. We can do that individually.
Can we take the entire audience off mute?
I'm not sure if we can do that all at a whack.
Let's see. Okay. All right, so let's see. Taking generated reports and pulling them into reports for dashboards. Is this on the roadmap? We'll have to check into this because I know analysis analytics and we've been doing some work around being able to conversationally create KPIs. But I'll have to look into that one. I'm not sure if we have that today. Let's see, I would like to know more about the optimizations, time saved ROI for Nowsys. Was interested in the slide you showed for current customer saves. Yes. So that's the Nowsys analytics dashboard. And so we will share the product documentation for that as well. And
Yeah,
that's in the March release. So if you have the March release in a dev instance, you should be able to play around with it.
all right, so I'm sharing this. One of the items that we had to really share with you today that's pretty fresh is in Now Create. This community article connects to Now Create, and there's a handful of implementation guides specifically around AI agents. This Get Started, Initiate, and Plan, these individual guides. If you're curious about learning more about AI agents, definitely recommend you check these out. So that's been dropped into the chat. Nikki, we just have one more minute. Is there anything else we want to try to cover off before we?
Oh, yes, one more minute. No, I think we'll share this material. I think for folks, if any of you are going to Knowledge, I will be there at Knowledge. So if you'd like to meet in person, have a more in-depth conversation about the roadmap, pain points, please reach out. My email, I'll put it in the chat. My email is niki.patel@servicenow.com. So if you are coming to Knowledge, please reach out. Would love to meet you, and we could talk more in depth about anything we discussed today.
All
And if
right.
you're not going, you should go because you'll get unfettered access to all of ITS and product management and get to meet us in person. So hope to see most of you, if not all, there.
All right, I think we need to end it there. Thanks, Nikki. Thanks, everybody, for this session. Hopefully you found it useful. Please go ahead and respond to the survey when you close, and please join us on the next one. Thanks.
Thanks all.